This is Shopify Masters, the e-commerce marketing podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs. It's powered by Shopify, the easiest way to sell online, in person, and anywhere in between. To get an extended 30-day trial, visit shopify.com/masters. Hey entrepreneurs, my name is Felix and I'm the host of the Shopify Masters podcast. Each week we put out podcast interviews with successful e-commerce entrepreneurs or experts to give you inspiration, motivation, and actionable tips to increase your traffic and sales so your store can generate the sales you need to live the life you want. In the last episode, Julian Hearn from Huel.com showed how he used the PR agency to kickstart a £2 million business. In this episode, you'll learn from an entrepreneur that built a business targeting baby boomers. In this episode, you'll learn how to identify brands to license from, what does a licensing deal look like, and how to set one up that's beneficial for you, and how to successfully start an online community for your brand. Today, I'm joined by Dave Andrews from OldGuysRule.com. Old Guys Rule is dedicated to showing that age is a badge of honor for a life well lived and sells everything from t-shirts to watches. And OldGuysRules.com was started in 2015 and based out of Hermosa Beach, California. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, excited to have you on. So tell us more about your background. And we were talking, I guess off air earlier about how this is not a typical, business model that we typically have on the podcast. So we'll get into that in a second. But then this is also just one, part of your entire ecosystem of businesses you own. So tell us a little bit more about your background and the entire, setup that you got going on.
Yeah, and thank you for having me on. I've got a few companies that I run. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Been doing this for about 9 years, but I was in the corporate world before that in the digital space. And I was in the original .com boom and bust in 2000, and before that in the entertainment and television, interactive television space as well. So about 9 years ago or so, I started a company called Devious Media, and we do consulting, digital entertainment consulting, anything from doing the entire strategy development and operations for Sony's TV networks around the globe, to consulting for the Emmys, did the Emmys iPhone app in about 3 weeks, start to finish, to small startups to help do the social media strategy for NFL Network, et cetera. I also, and we've got about 100 developers, so we can pretty much build anything. And then I've gone any device, including OTT and mobile consoles, et cetera. Then I've got another company that is called Community 102, and that company is a community moderation and customer support company. So we do everything from doing customer support for companies, whether it be in social, through something like a Zendesk, message boards, etc. We also manage Facebook pages for various brands to make sure no one's trolling, but also be a first line of defense for support. We also do a lot of content management and clearance. So we work with a company like Maker Studios to help them clear their content before they syndicate it out to various different companies. And then my company that we're talking about today is called 360 E-Commerce Consulting. And we're a full 360 view of e-commerce. You can call us for as much or as little as you need, whether you need an entire solution or you just need someone to do customer support. You need to get something built out. You need to source products, whatever you need. We can pretty much help you out with anything that you need along the way. That kind of gives you a general overview of the company.
No, that sounds like you do a lot. I'm not sure how you have time to do all this, but let's definitely just narrow in on the 360 e-commerce consulting. So did you have a background? You were saying that you're part of the original .com boom and bust, and were you in e-commerce previously, or how did you, find your way towards, opening up a store?
I've done various different projects dealing with e-commerce and or transaction based. We've done stuff with Magento and various hard-coded sites back in the day, I'll say. And love Shopify, makes it simple. As I explain it to potential clients, and or existing clients, I explain it to them that it's kind of like the iPhone, and then you just add apps. You can make it look the way you want, add apps on top of it, and there's low cost to get going and dip your toe in the water, but allows you to scale. So, for me with e-commerce, done a little bit beforehand, but really, going gung-ho with some previous clients I worked with in the past.
So is 360 e-commerce consulting this is I guess the umbrella company that houses oldguysrule.com. Do you also have other e-commerce properties, or is this like the main one?
This is the main one. We've done some development and for another company. Laird Hamilton is another company we did the development for. He's the big wave surfer, so he's got a lot of stand-up paddle boards. We did that with Shopify and integrated WordPress into it because they want to do some content. We did an ink toner site before that as well. So we've done a few other various different projects here or there. But those are the Laird Hamilton and the Old Guys Rule are some of the main ones that we're doing. So and actually we're just focused right now on Old Guys Rule as we are starting to grow the 360 brand.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So with Old Guys Rule, when we were talking again off air, you mentioned to me that this is already an existing brand, and you have I guess not a completely brand new business model, but at least something that's different than what you typically hear on this podcast. So explain to the audience a little bit about how this business specifically is set up.
Yeah. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I like to look at things, differently and just figure out. Literally, people call me for all different reasons. And how do you make money off this? How can I make money? I've got something. How do we generate revenue, build a brand, etc. And I'm usually the idea guy, and I follow it through execution. And they reached out to us and said they'd been doing some B2C with their e-commerce site using Pinnacle, an old version. And it was a licensee who manages all the T-shirts, managing the sales of direct-to-consumer. And they wanted to get a more holistic for amount of products they could offer, and be able to have a better experience and really dive into the brand of Old Guys Rule. Of what is it? It's not just T-shirts and hats. What does it mean to be an old guy that rules, basically? And deliver on that brand promise. And so we literally talked about it for about a year. It took about a year and a month to close the deal. And what happened is we ended up becoming the licensee for the brand in North Central and South America for all the digital rights. And basically their model for Old Guys Rule is they license out the brand to various different companies to take it over for them and get it into brick and mortar. So we take those different products that are being created and put them on the website and distribute them through various, from the main domain also to Amazon and eBay. And so we just basically figure out how do we grow the Old Guys Rule brand digitally. We've got lots of different things we've been doing to help, and we're literally just getting over a version 1 of the whole entire experience.
So this company, Old Guys Rule, they had zero e-commerce presence in anywhere, or just in the Americas. Like, what was their situation prior to you guys stepping in?
They had a site that was built in 2006 on Pinnacle. It was probably last updated in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Not responsive. The checkout process was archaic. The analytics were a little nuts. When I look at Google Analytics, you're just trying to figure out what was and what wasn't happening. They're trying to figure out what do we know, so you can make decisions. I like to look at analytics and figure out what are we building, why are we building it. I don't want to build on gut. I want to build on fact. And so basically I had very, very little to work with to try and figure it out. So, when we began it became a lot of discovery, and discovering who the target audience was, what do they like, why do they like it, and how do we make it simple for them to build out the platform. And with our deal, we manage the entire process from development all the way through to every single line of communication with a customer, whether it be marketing or customer support, phone support. We do all the fulfillment, literally every single thing. The way it works is that we provide a royalty payment to the brand owners of Old Guys Rule.
Cool. So I think this is probably a business model that other people might be interested in. Is it something that you would recommend for a first-time or beginner entrepreneur to consider going this route of licensing a brand and then paying royalties to that brand?
I personally wouldn't recommend for the first-timer, and as somebody that isn't experienced in the space and or in digital, it's just not something you jump into because you've got to know brands. And Old Guys Rule is very successful. They're in 600-700 plus brick and mortar stores domestically, but then they're international as well. They do have a UK e-commerce site that's managed by another licensee who does brick and mortar there directly. who's very successful with it. They just did a deal with Hobby Lobby for a lot of their like man cave signs and things like that. So there'll be another 700 stores with Hobby Lobby. I mean, they do very, very, very well. So you got to know how to deal with brands, how to talk to brands, and present to brands. And not only that, you got to know the business side of it all. For me, I would be cautious to jump in. Maybe if there's a smaller brand and, someone just getting off the ground themselves and you want to dip your toe in the water and help them out. And I'll say almost like an internship, say, let's do it. I'll help you out. That'd be great. But get in, and they're not saying, Old Guys Rule is the Coca-Cola of the universe, but it's a decent size company that makes a significant amount of revenue, and so you want to be cautious about being a first timer in the space.
Yeah, and I'd imagine there are some challenges too when you are just one sales channel or one licensee out of not many, but at least you're not the only one, right? Because if you own the brand and you start from scratch and everything, the decisions you make are impacting you only, and you can make at least you'd be more open to making. You're not be open, but you would have the opportunity to make more of your own decisions. Do you run into those kind of not necessarily issues, but at least you're dealing with a lot more people, a lot more other companies when you are a licensee versus starting your own brand. Can you talk to us a little bit about those challenges?
So you mean challenges working with other licensees of the Old Guys Rule brand?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the good news is that the people that own Old Guys Rule, at the end of the day, they're good people. And I like to work with good people. That's part of the reason I became an entrepreneur. I was talking to a friend of mine who asked me if I wanted to take a job with a particular company, just as a client, and it was great pay, ridiculous amount of pay, overpaid actually. And I just said no, and he goes, oh, why? Because certain people you have to work with, there's certain people you like working with and certain you don't. And at the end of the day, they're good people. And so the people that are licensing Old Guys Rule brand, they've kind of got good people. They didn't just do a deal with anybody. They did deal with people you could talk to that are human, that respect you. So it's been very nice. I know it won't always be that way with other brands you work with, but they're good people. And there's various conventions and shows and calls and emails we have, and it's 100% polite, and it's people that are passionate about the brand, that are licensing it, that are open to creativity. At the end of the day, some of the licenses are their license, but if I see a cool product that might fit in their license, I'm going to send it to them and say, hey, you may want to reach out to this person. Here's the website, here's a video, here's a link. I found this person on LinkedIn. Because what happens is that product gets created and or licensed to Old Guys Rule. It can then be on the website, and then it helps me for that side of it. We've actually helped, you'll see on the website for Old Guys Rule, a product called Bottle Keeper. Mm-hmm. We actually licensed that bottle for Old Guys Rule. And we've talked to them, how to get it all done, how to get them talking with Old Guys Rule. We're the person that helped negotiate that whole entire process, sourced the product, and got the deal done. And that's a very, very, very successful product. I mean, it's flying off the shelf.
That's awesome. So if the entrepreneur out there is looking to follow in your footsteps, follow down this path, how do you even begin the process of finding a brand that would be open to licensing? Is it something that you can look up somewhere, or you just got to be networking?
It's networking. I've never really done marketing for myself. It's just the relationships. If there's one thing I'd say to anybody, is just be nice to everybody. There's plenty of people that are mean. Just be nice to everybody. Because whether it be a year, 5 years, et cetera. I've been in digital, probably 19 years, 20 years total. And I still have those friendships. And with connectivity, social, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, just email, et cetera, word can get around pretty easily. And if you're nice to people, they're going to refer you. And it's kind of how I've always worked. It's always been referral, word of mouth. And so, that it starts with just being nice to people. The other thing is, look at companies, see what they're doing. And I almost say, it sounds weird to say it, but I almost looked at Old Guys Rule as like a house flip. It was a site hadn't been updated since 2008. The brand, I saw it around here and there. I looked at the demographics that it targeted the baby boomers. And I did a lot of research on the baby boomers. I said, look, I think there's a business here, meaning that if I did do it, how would we do the deal? Why would we do the deal this way? And it was basically a house flip. It was a 2000 website from '08, and it's 2015. It's not responsive. It's not on the latest technologies, not utilizing the latest technologies. Let's take it over and go from there. So if someone's out looking, I mean, I look and see what brands may be, valuable. You could also, source brands. Look at brands from the 80s. Look at brands from the 70s that were popular, or 90s, et cetera. Just go by decade and see what were the hot brands. See what they're doing now. Look it up. Try to find out who owns them. See if there's a way to work with them and try to revitalize them digitally, going direct to consumer. That's a creative way of doing it.
So you're almost looking for brands or you're almost recommending that you to look for brands that need your help based on your expertise or based on your experience. Like you're saying that look for brands that maybe don't have a strong online presence or have an online presence, but their site has been updated in almost 10 years. And those are usually not necessarily ripe for, well, I guess you could say, ripe for an opportunity for you to work with them to create a business.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows e-commerce is blowing up. I mean, we do great sales on Amazon, and they do our fulfillment, so it's pretty much turnkey for us. But it's e-commerce is growing. Look at all the big boxes going out of business. Rent is very expensive. It's not expensive when you're doing fulfillment, and there's a lot of brands that could go direct to consumer. And so I look at the companies that were selling to the big box. At wholesale prices, they have a margin. Why not sell direct to consumer and keep it MAP pricing so you're not undercutting your big box stores, but you're building your list. I heard, and you can quote me later, correct me later, but was it Dick's Sporting Goods bought Sports Authority's all their lists and everything for $15 million? But the list was, I believe, something like 50 million plus. And so that list is great. There's probably some overlap, but email marketing's crushing it. It's very cheap. So they probably got those names at less than 25, 30 cents a name for people that are interested in that vertical. I mean, it's e-commerce is crushing it with email. It's an incredible business to be in. And that's why for me, I look at companies like Old Guys Rule, that they were typically B2B selling to those brick and mortars out there. We have the opportunity for them to sell to consumers directly. If you see, the t-shirts are a great billboard. They're a great product, great quality. The people that read them love them, whether it's a person wearing it or someone walking by reads it and laughs. They enjoy it. It's lighthearted. And it's a billboard. And everyone says Old Guys Rule. So where are you going to look it up? What are you going to Google? It's Old Guys Rule. Mm-hmm. And so it's like that with any brand. You're not going to Google Macy's, to find it. And so that's why I would encourage more brands to go B2C and focus on that part of their business. Doesn't mean to be the main part of it, but a significant part. And we can handle that literally soup to nuts.
Mm-hmm. So when you are looking at brands that you want to begin, I guess, relationship with to potentially license from them, is it, I'm assuming that especially the more the brands that you actually want to work with, they're going to be very selective with the people that they work with. Are there ways to make yourself seem more, or at least set yourself up to be more attractive to having them work with you, to make it like an easy yes for them to say, yes, we want you to license our products or license our brand?
I think it comes from experience. I think it comes from presentations you give. I think it's how you speak to people. And once again, this kind of goes back to being, nice. It goes back to being honest. Be transparent. Show them what you can do. Show them your past history and talk to them and brainstorm with them. It's not, I'm the licensee. It's, I'm a partner. I'm working with you. I'm trying to help grow this business. I'm passionate about it. And as I mentioned earlier, I love the baby boomer brand and demographic, because they have 50% of disposable income in the United States. It's an underserved audience. They love brands and they don't disappear. They stay with their brand forever. They don't switch, anything. They love their brand. They're going to stick with it. That's one of the reasons I chose this to work with Old Guys Rule and take a risk. And it's been incredibly successful. So if you're gonna approach these brands to work with them, you should definitely be buttoned up. You should be honest, and don't come to the table with, I can build you a store. It's anybody can build a store. I mean, look at Shopify and others out there do a great job at it. And there's a lot of great, incredibly talented people in the space to help build you stores. You have to come with other things and other solutions, and you have to think holistically. What is it going to cost to operate? How are we going to get people there? That's another cost. People think I just build a store and they'll be there. It's not you build it, they will come. You build it, you need to also have a significant amount of money set aside for marketing. You have to be able to get people in your list. Email marketing is by far the most effective way to generate revenue for your company. It doesn't matter what demographic it is. And you have to be able to generate a list and get it growing, but you got to get people to your website first. I don't know where else to go with that, but that kind of gives you an idea of how I think.
Yeah, so I guess from the maybe from the business perspective, you said that this deal took about a year to come to fruition. What does a typical deal like this look like? If someone out there is thinking about doing this for the first time, maybe they're in the middle of finding a brand to license from. What is it? What do you need to keep in mind when you want to construct a deal that's obviously beneficial to both people, but then also, of course, protecting your opportunities?
It was a creative deal. Put it that way. It was involved lawyers. That's why it's not cheap to get it going. But now we have something set up that's in place that helps us to move forward with others in the future. But for me, there's various incentives. Obviously it helps if we hit certain points for everybody, right? There's a percentage of net sales, because there's various shipping costs, products. We may give discounts on shipping. We may give discounts if you spend so much in your cart, et cetera. So, we give the royalty out over certain periods of time, and without going into too many specifics, per year. That we just kind of hand a nice check out to Old Guys Rule.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay, cool. So a little bit earlier, you were talking about how one of the key reasons why you wanted to license from this brand was because of the demographic, and you did your research to find out more about them. Talk to us about this process. Like, how did you discover, not necessarily this particular target market, but how did you learn more about the demographic that would buy from Old Guys Rule?
A long time ago, it seems like forever, but infographics are great. They're simple. It's the quick, digestible information that you can just get, and I'm not saying always cited, but usually cited. I used it a long time ago to just check out and see how it would drive traffic. We actually, with one of the things I did with the Television Academy, we created an infographic to see how it would drive traffic. A great company called Column 5 out of Orange County did it. And so what you can do literally with a lot of different things, I'm not saying all, but I looked at baby boomers, and they said that their audience, and obviously it's male, it's, I'll say 55 plus domestically. Internationally, it's a little weird, but old guys is about 30, 35, which is, we can talk about that too. But, and so all I did is literally look up baby boomer infographic on Google and look at Google Images, and then just pop open a new tab of every single graphic and looked at all the stats. What are the key things I'm seeing over and over and over and over again? And typically with infographics, one designer might steal the information from another designer, steals the information from another designer. But what am I learning about it? What do they know about that demographic? You can do the same thing with millennials. You can do the same thing with pretty much Gen X, anything. There are plenty of those infographics out there. Yes, I can also just Google and read articles, read wiki, et cetera. And a lot of what I do is just reading, and seeing what's out there just anywhere, just to learn more. But yeah, the quick, down and dirty is infographics, man. There's a lot of great stuff out there. And I like the short, significant facts. Just give it to me, bullet point. I need to know. What do I need to know?
Yeah, infographics are way easier to digest than just reading like articles, because they really do pull out what's most important. And then the visual elements, of course, also lets you know what's being emphasized, what kind of data is most important. So when you are looking at these infographics, what are you hunting for? Like, what are you looking to see how much they're spending, where they're spending it? Like, what are some key, questions you wanted to have answered when you were doing this research?
Yeah, it's how much revenue do they bring in per year? How do they live their life? What's the size of their house? How much are they paying in a mortgage? What do they have kids? What are they spending on their kids? What about health insurance? What are their bills? What kind of discretionary income do they have to be able to spend on anything they want to spend it on? What do we know about them? And part of the things I know is that it's the largest demographic out there, and they're living longer. and they're only going to live longer. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things I saw was they don't leave a brand. And when you start to think about these things about the baby boomer audience, like, yeah, I know my dad or my mom, they like a certain type of food or a certain restaurant or whatever. They're creatures of habit even more so as they get older. And when you look at the disposable income that they've got, think about it. The kids are out of college. They may still be working or getting ready to retire. You know, their homes are probably paid off. And they've been wise with their money. They've seen various, you know, recessions, et cetera, that have happened. So, you know, they're getting their grandkids now, and they've got a lot of free time. And the other thing to look at is, what are they doing digitally? At the end of the day, that audience is still an audience. And this is one of the things that got me worried was they like tactile. You know, they still want to touch the newspaper. They still want to, you know, pick up the record and touch a record, not even a CD, but a record, you know. They want to feel it, touch it, taste it, smell it, see it. And, you know, our generation, well, I'm not necessarily a millennial, I'm more of a Gen Xer, but I'm okay with buying something digitally and not even seeing it and just owning it. You know, music, no big deal. Movie, cool, whatever. Don't care about it. You know, they would rather get a DVD in the store and touch it, you know. So that's one of the things I was really worried about. But looking at the demographics, you know, one of the things I saw as I talk about the flip of the website is it was about 50% of what was going to their site was on mobile. So
wow,
when you look
surprising.
Yeah, right. And when you get a site that's not optimized for mobile, you got a lot of low-hanging fruit there that you can start targeting and really going after. So that's one of the other things that got me excited about flipping. You know, I just basically say flip the website, make it responsive so it'll work on any device.
So you, using this research, you noticed that there was an opportunity because you saw the large disposable income. You saw that they're very brand loyal. They don't, you know, leave brands like you're saying. Did you also learn anything that any information that you could actually apply towards the marketing itself? Like this kind of research, can you use that to influence the way you sell the products, to sell the brand?
You know, a lot of it goes into just traditional sites. Keep it simple. And there's a great book that's been out, I mean, I don't even know, maybe 15 years, 12 years now, for digital design. And it still applies today. It's called Don't Make Me Think. And I would encourage everybody to read it today. Even though the site's in there that may not be relevant, but it's just don't make your customer think. And, you know, one of the other things that I, you know, realize, and this is working with, you know, the people from Old Guys Rule that are just great people. They said large fonts. We can't read. We have reading glasses, so make it large fonts. You know, which is it's funny, but me being a little younger than them, you know, I wouldn't realize that. I haven't started using reading glasses, and so you know, you just got to think about those. The other thing to look at too is who's the target. You think it's Old Guys Rule, okay? It's males. Well, once again, it goes back to the baby boomers. It's not necessarily males. It's about 50-50 split of people buying, female to male. And during the holidays and Father's Day, those are our Super Bowls. It's about 60-65% female. You know, and so you kind of got to figure out where is that target, especially when you're email and other things that you're going to do.
So yeah, this market definitely seems like a great market to get into. At least this target, this particular demographic. So this baby boomer demographic you're talking about, the issue you brought up before about how they are tactile, they want to be able to actually see things maybe before they buy them. Did you find out that wasn't actually true, or did you find a way to get around that issue?
I think it goes into, you know, Shopify has great tutorials and articles. And if you look at it, just getting a product done right, I'm not a great copywriter. I don't pretend to be one in any way, shape, or form. And looking what they say about what you need for copy and the various tutorials they have, you know, is making sure the copy, or for a product page, copy, images. You know, so I put more images than I need. You know, here's a close-up of the graphic of a T-shirt. T-shirts are one of the big primary sellers by far, with the other products, you know, coming up pretty fast. But it's making large images so they can see exactly what it is, so they know exactly what they're going to buy. It's not like I'm selling, you know, too unique of a product. And if you go to the site, you'll see a product called Bottle Keeper. That's a unique product. So you can see the difference from what we did on a page for a t-shirt, which people are used to buying, versus a product that we're breaking for people, meaning Bottle Keeper. And that's basically, I keep mentioning it, but it looks like a water bottle, typical stainless steel water bottle with a black cap. And what it is, it's a beer koozie. You unscrew the bottom, and inside it's koozie material. You slide your beer in there, close it back up, and then the top, the black cap's got a little, like, I'll say grommet inside of it. Then it screws down and it seals your beer so it won't leak. And so it keeps your beer cold and protects your bottle from breaking. And it's a little spin on the typical koozie you might have been used to your whole life.
So are there any specific ways that you found that work better to target baby boomers specifically than, I guess, the, like millennials or Generation X online?
I say email is still by far the number one way to hit them. But you got to get people to your email, right? You got to get them to sign up. You got to give them a reason to sign up. So we offer a few things. We use Storia's Coupon Pop. And I've seen dramatic increase in registrations. We give a 20% off for liking us on Facebook or signing up for email. And I mean, I can show you the charts. It's triple, quadruple what we were doing when we just had a standard, sign up for our email, kind of thing. And it works great. So getting people in an email database, especially that demographic, is key. We also use Storia's traffic boosters. So that just gets people to the site. And I don't know what they do over there, what kind of drink they're making people drink over there or what, but their stuff works. It does. It sounds weird to say, in heavily endorsing, et cetera. But, I was spinning, I was like, okay, I'll drive traffic. I did some traffic with, tried driving traffic with, Google, and I was on the phone with them for about 12 hours doing some Google ads. And part of the challenge I had was other brick and mortars were selling our product, and they may not be selling at MAP pricing. We're supposed to be at a minimum of $19.99. We're selling on the website $24.99, but we're giving people discounts and incentives to buy, to get it cheaper. And when you look at Google, there are people selling it at $14.99, and I just can't compete at that price. And so I was on the phone with Google for quite a while. I mean, it was hours and hours and hours. I talked to friends in SEM and SEO business, what did they suggest, and did various things, and I just still couldn't compete. And, I was like, okay, I'll just try Traffic Booster. I closed that off, and, it's $99. Boom. I was getting 5X return. Okay, I'll do $400. Boom. I was like, let's just drop $1,000 a month. And it's been 5X return every time. Minimum. And so it's been very good to us. And that getting someone over to buy, great, that we make money. But getting them into an email, we make money because when we send an email out, we're going to make money off of them. It just happens. It's the lifetime value of a customer. So it's been incredible working with them. But we also use various other ad companies, technologies, and we've been testing a lot of them out to see what is and is not working. But yeah, like I said, I don't know what they drink over there, what they're doing, what they're feeding them, but they've got some good products.
Yeah, maybe it's working. Don't question it too much.
I was like, okay, I'm looking at Google Analytics, and truthfully, I'm talking to other companies. I'm like, here's what I'm getting with these companies for bounce rate, for conversion rates, for anything, and the revenue coming in versus what I'm spending. I will let you compete. Like, you win. I'm being transparent. That's what, as I mentioned earlier, I want to be transparent to not just set me up to succeed, but these other companies. There's other entrepreneurs. I've been in their shoes. I've failed in the past. So if these guys are doing something right, great. If they're doing something wrong, I'm going to show them. And I've had, incredible feedback. Some of them have been failures, but the feedback and the relationship that I'm building with these companies has been great. I like them a lot. They're good people. And whether their company succeeds or fails, I have no idea. They probably do great stuff for other people too. But, I always try to help other entrepreneurs in the space any way I can.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when you were mentioning that you do give an incentive to sign up for the email list, but then you also give them the option to like on Facebook as well. Do you I mean, it sounds like email marketing, and I think this is a consensus as well, is like way more of a profitable sales channel than, just a like on Facebook. Do you then decide to go one or the other, or are you still okay just kind of not spreading, but offering both incentives for that 20% off?
I offer both, because some people don't want email. They're fed up with it, and I'll give them an option. And Facebook, as you probably know, over the years, they've really changed their tune with brands. It was all about brands to get people on there, and then all of a sudden, the brands had to start paying to drive their traffic. Even though I liked their brand, if I didn't engage with it, I wasn't going to see it. So then I had to start paying to get that traffic over. I was kind of, man, that's a little shady there, And I love Facebook. I love so many things they do, but if someone likes my brand and they want to see it, why are they not seeing what they want to, what they should? And that's, they adjust their activity feeds and everything else all the time. So they got the science behind it. Great, cool. But as I see the engagement, we haven't really gone after Facebook, even though I know it's an older demographic. The revenue isn't necessarily the best. I've done the Facebook store. I've done, through Shopify has that plugin. I've looked at our analytics for conversion on Facebook, looked at the types, do I do just content and see if we get traffic? Do I do a product, see if we get a conversion? What works, what doesn't? Storio's Coupon Pop is working to get people to like our page. It builds more of an awareness and reminds people we're there. It also helps me figure out our lookalike audience. So if we want to target, I know who does and does not like our brand, so I can target the right consumer. I use Facebook as well, Google Analytics as well to figure out what our audience is to be able to target them too on Facebook with ads.
So now when it comes to just the email portion alone, can you give us an idea how large the email list has grown since or maybe how large is it today, or how much has it grown since you've implemented this Coupon Pop app?
We were getting maybe a couple hundred. Now it's, over 1,000, put it out a month. And so that's why I say it's dramatic. Is it worth the cost? Yes. And we were doing a similar thing. They got a better mousetrap, and so it's worth spending the money, right? And what is the value of someone signing up for an email? To me, it's very valuable. I don't mind spending that money. There is a lot of apps out there that do that. And I looked at all of them. I won't say all of them. I probably missed a few, but I looked at many, many, many of them. And some are sexier than others, or build it faster, or do whatever. I just wanted one that was going to get people into my database. At the end of the day, I want people in my email database. That's how we make money. I send an email, we print money. It truthfully is. And I've got 2 times of the year where it's very, very successful. That's Father's Day and Christmas. The other times of the year, we do various marketing campaigns with email, and it does very, very well. But they're not the Super Bowl.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what kind of emails are you sending? So once you get the email address, are they just getting these promotional emails, or give us an idea like what someone would receive if they sign up for the email list?
It kind of depends on the year. As I said, we're just getting over V1. I'll say the store launch. We had about 6 weeks to get the site up. We launched October 21st last year, and literally site up, get all the products, we use Amazon's FBA, get everything there we didn't have any SKUs. We had the FN SKU, get all that set up, had Stitch integration, just figuring out how we're doing returns, exchanges, everything, like I said, soup to nuts. What is the communication? How do we communicate within the tone of the brand? So it was very, very, very tough to get up with that time. And we're starting into the V2, I'll say, of the experience with All Guys Rule. And for email, before it was just, hey, we've got shirts. Here's the shirts. Here's the hats. Just to get it going and get some traffic there. What we need is a reason to talk to people. You just don't want to send an email to send an email. That's not a good experience for the customer, and it damages the brand. So, my goal is to have a communication with the customer every 2 weeks, meaning what is going to change on the website every 2 weeks. And that's, I'll take Christmas and Father's Day out of the picture because those are, very targeted, a little bit different audience they have to target on what's on the homepage, etc. But for the other times of the year, I really need to figure out. I have a 2-week window. People come about every month or so just to check out shirts here or there. So one of the things we did is we created Bottle Keeper. Okay, I gave it a 2-week window. And with that 2-week window, we'll do 3 to 4 emails. One is announcing the product. The homepage, the main marquee will have, it's the Bottle Keeper. So everything's in sync. I talk about it on Facebook. So all channels are going to talk about the Bottle Keeper. And that's the first email. The second email might have the Bottle Keeper and maybe a couple other products. Third email, it's the Bottle Keeper and, a few more products. So it slowly starts to just trickle down a little bit. Then we move from the Bottle Keeper 2 weeks later. It might go into the second position on the homepage. And we have a new product. So we launched watches. It's by the lady that brought Swatch to the U.S. She brought the Old Guys Rule watches out. And so we promote those. And that'll be for 2 weeks. And then it'll slowly trickle down. And, we just kind of keep trying that cycle with breaking a new product or a new vertical or a category every 2 weeks. So we have a reason to communicate and let our fans know what we're bringing to market. One of the cool new things we're actually doing, which is a little different for the digital brands, is we're actually creating, it's called the Old Guys Rule Club. And you'd think when you hear a club with a traditional brick and mortar, it's, spend money and you get discounts. No, that's not where we're going. We're actually taking a T-shirt that we custom brand, and we found that when we create a custom T-shirt, we did one for 4th of July, sold through the roof, do it for Christmas, sells through the roof. So we created the Old Guys Rule T-shirt, but we also created the Old Guys Rule bottle opener, which is a credit card, bottle opener membership card. It's the size of a credit card, and it looks like a membership card, and it fits in your wallet, and it's a bottle opener. So you get the T-shirt and membership card to be an official member. Then what we created is the community. So we created a virtual community where Old Guys Rule that are premium members, that's $29.99 a year. You get a shirt and the bottle opener membership card, and you get access to the community. You can also join for free. But the premium members get access into a premium group where we're going to work with our fans of the brand to help design new T-shirts. So it'll be new sayings, new designs of T-shirts, other things that we could do with the brand to help create, work with these evangelists. We have such rabid fans. The emails we get are awesome. And we get a lot of handwritten cards from fans. And so that's one of the things we want to start to break out and help nurture a community around the brand. And that's something we're just going to do a little bit different than what other brands. And that's when I looked at the baby boomers, that's one of the things I thought of doing. It was just a little bit different.
So I got a couple questions that come out of that explanation you gave. So does it always have to be a new product launch to as a reason to send the emails, or are there other ways to get around that, especially if there's listeners out there that don't have such a large catalog, or at least a catalog that turns over that frequently?
I would say it's not necessarily the catalog, but ask yourself, if I got this email, why am I going to open it? Why am I going to click on it? And what am I going to do once I click? Why? And remove yourself. And maybe ask some of your friends on Facebook. Post a picture of the email. Would you open it? Why would you open it? Maybe get a Survey Monkey. Ask a poll of your fans. What do you want to hear from us? Have it open-ended and listen to them. Why do you want to hear from us? Do you want to hear about new products? Because truthfully, the new products, new T-shirts, new things we roll out, the fans love. Our click-through rates are enormous. Conversion rates are enormous. If you talk about your brand, that's another thing you could do it. So maybe you don't always have to sell, but let them know what else are you doing with your brand. If you say it's smaller, not a big catalog, are you out in the community doing something? Are you helping with charities? Are you working on a new product? Let them know it's coming out. Maybe there's a pre-sale you could do. What is your relationship with your customer? And that's what I think you have to figure out as the owner of that brand. And what are you delivering to your customer? It's not necessarily a product, but what are you delivering from a brand value, and what do they want? Don't just give them something, ask them. And so part of why I created that community is because we found that people love cars and love to talk about them. And, we're going to have an area for guys to talk about cars. and share with one another. Make it the local bar so they can hang out and talk about their 57 Chevy they remodeled. Post the pictures, see where they got their parts from, and what did they do? What are the tips and tricks? And that's why I like doing that community. So for other brands, how could they connect fans of their brands? I know one brand has like a weekend getaway where, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to have a band playing. If you want to come here and meet in person. Meet us. Great. That's another thing they could do for an email is just figure out how they need to connect with their brand.
Yeah, I really like this idea of this club that you've created because I feel like it's really applicable to pretty much any brand, any company, any store out there that has customers. You can create community around some kind of shared interest. So you came up with this online community based on the things that you're hearing from your customers about the interest that they have. You give them an exclusive product and a card, just some way to show them that they're a premium member, a premium customer, and a part of this club. How do you, set this up? Or is there specific software you're using? How would someone get something like this rolling?
Yeah, there's various software out there for community building. We chose to go with WordPress and use BuddyPress. For the customization and with Shopify's integration with WordPress. So we can, if we want to sell product or promote product, people can buy within the community, not directly on, within the community built on BuddyPress, not directly on Shopify. So they don't have to leave and go to the store. Truthfully, and think about your experience. How often do you go to a store? You don't go every day. You may go to Amazon, but that's about it. You're probably not going every day, but you're probably going to Facebook every day and checking out what's on your friends. And I'm looking at it as this is it's its own Facebook that people can join in a conversation. And part of that goes back to one of my companies, Community 102, that I did and I did that with Sony. We did it around anime and their TV network. Rabid fans. I used to manage the Twilight brand in the community. And people were there every day because they're passionate about that brand. That's why I see that with Old Guys Rule, and that's why the direction we went. Every brand, it may not be perfect for every brand, but I like it. I think it's you can't just say, I built a community, everybody hang out. No, it takes time. It's literally like you're a farmer and you got to plant the seeds and sow it. And we're not going to have millions of people day one. It's going to be a slow process to get it growing. But you got to show them value and show them why we appreciate them and communicate with them and appreciate the feedback. Too many brands think I'm just going to make it and they're going to buy it. And then their stuff ends up at a discount shop. I'm more looking at it as, man, if I can work with them and show them what we can create and get invaluable input, I'll give them free T-shirts. I don't care. That's great. They help develop and make something better.
So I think, what you touched on this a little bit about how it's not just, you open the doors to your club, to your community, and all of a sudden you have this, thriving community. You have to plant the seeds. Tell us a little more about these, seeds that you have to plant, because I think a big part of the fear, hesitation about starting a community is that it's a lot of work, right, to manage it, to actually get people to interact and talk with each other. There's so much involved. Give us some ideas on how you can actually, plant the seed so that it can be set up to be a thriving community eventually.
First, you have to have a fan base, and luckily we have that. So we at least can start out by reaching out to them and letting them know it exists. For Old Guys Rule, I know that when I launch a unique T-shirt, you can't necessarily get in stores. It sells. And so I know that when we do this, we'll get people buying it, and a unique product. And the membership card's really unique. The fans of the brand are going to love it. And it's a bottle opener. At the end of the day, Old Guys Rule, fans of the brand love beer. They do. They love their beer, and they're going to use it. And so I know that's good. I'll get at least some people in that way. But within a community, a lot of times what people do is they just make it too deep too soon. Here's a forum, and inside the forum there's 500 things. And you become, I'll say, lack of a better phrase, but paralysis by analysis. There's too many things. As a fan, you got to keep it simple. Keep the topics in your groups, forums, whatever you may choose to use, very top line and broad. As people start discussing things and the group community starts to grow, you can expand out and add another vertical. and then add another vertical, and then slowly let things splinter off into other verticals within the community. That's one of the ways. One is just when someone joins, thank them for joining. Reach out to them. Give them a link that tells them the tips and tricks of the community. I'm here if you need me. Here's a link to my profile. You can message me. Let's imagine if you had someone over for a party and somebody just walked in the door and no one said hi. And, no one told them where the food is. No one told them where the beer is, whatever. You really got to nurture them. That's why I say it's a farmer and you're planting the seeds. You really, it's not just like a passive experience. The good part about why 360 e-commerce works for this area is one of my companies that I own, another one is called Community 102. We do community management. We also do customer support. So it's a nice marriage that my team doing customer support that's going to talk to you about, a return or exchange is also going to be those people that are in the community talking to them and building a relationship with the fans of the brand that are part of the member, that have become members.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's an important point that you said very early on, which is about how don't go too deep too soon, because that's when you start making assumptions about what people care most about in the community rather than having them kind of tell you, right? Because if they start, like you're saying, they start talking about cars a lot or they start talking about, beer a lot, then that's when you want to kind of bring some organization to it. But you don't want to organize it and give them too much friction. Like you're going back to that book you're talking about, Don't Make Me Think. Like you don't want to add too much friction to the conversation. I think that's an important point about creating a community, is that you want to make the communication and the conversation fluid. Don't add roadblocks in a way. So I think that's a great point. And I think, a lot of entrepreneurs out there are thinking about starting communities. Definitely follow that advice. I really like it. Thanks again so much, Dave. So oldguysrule.com is the store. 360ecommerceconsulting.com is your other business. Anywhere else you recommend the listeners check out if they want to follow along with what you're up to or just, learn more from you?
First and foremost, anybody who wants to reach out, Dave at 360ecommerceconsulting.com. I'm happy to talk. You're an entrepreneur. You have a question, feel free. I usually answer as fast as I can. I apologize if I don't get to you fast, but, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, Dave Andrews. I think that's actually it, /Dave Andrews. Is one of the early guys on LinkedIn a long time ago. Or on Facebook as well. I'm on Twitter at Devious Media. I don't really use Twitter as much as I used to, but or just go to Old Guys Rule, check it out, and ask questions. I'm happy to help, happy to give advice any way I can. It's tough being an entrepreneur, and if you're passionate about it, you sleep, eat, breathe it, etc. Any way I can help, I'm happy to do.
Awesome. Thanks so much again for your time, Dave.
All right, you take care. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Shopify Masters, the e-commerce marketing podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs. To start your store today, visit shopify.com/masters to claim your extended 30-day free trial.